Hey guys, JJ here, and it looks like we got some very reassuring news regarding the Resident Evil movie reboot. So with that being said, let's get right into it.
Resident Evil.
You're all going to die down here.
Last year, Constantine Films had announced that they would be rebooting the Resident Evil film franchise. This time around, James Wan, the producer of The Conjuring, Saw, Insidious, and much more, was set to produce the new movie. Greg Russo was also added on board as a writer. In a recent interview, Discussing Film asked Greg Russo about the upcoming Resident Evil movie reboot. Greg replied, "I worked on the reboot for about a year and then producer James Wan came in. My involvement on that project has kind of concluded, so I'm not sure what they'll do with it. I submitted my draft to the producers and they were happy with it, and ultimately they'll do what they want with the property, but I'm currently not involved with that film." He goes on to say, "Obviously, I'm a huge fan of the franchise, so to work on that was a lot of fun. And they've made 6 films before, so when you come back to that and reboot it, you want to do something different and not just a rehash. For me, it was very clear cut that I wanted to go back and make it scary again, like a horror film in terms of classic James Wan style. So that was the pitch. Going back and looking what made the game scary in the first place, Resident Evil 7 was a bit of a touchstone for my draft." Greg concludes by saying, "Not to shame the original film franchise that was made. I think that did very well. When you create a fresh reboot and look at the over-the-top action of the Paul Anderson franchise, it was fun and really cool. But at the end of the day, for me as a fan of the original game franchise, I always considered the franchise to be horror at the forefront and action as a secondary feature. So it just made sense to go back to the horror roots." This is very reassuring in multiple ways. First off, it looks like we won't be getting another over-the-top action film like Paul W.S. Anderson's Resident Evil movies. The new movie will focus on horror, and that's very important for Resident Evil. Secondly, the writer is a big fan of the original Resident Evil games, so he gets what made the Resident Evil series so special. He also mentioned that Resident Evil 7 was a bit of inspiration for his draft. Now, many people have different feelings about Resident Evil 7, but I personally felt it was a step back in the right direction for the video game series. It will be interesting to see how he interprets that into the new movie. I'm really looking forward to the Resident Evil movie reboot, but I want to know your thoughts. What do you think of Greg Russo's new direction? Are you happy we're moving away from Paul W.S. Anderson's over-the-top action? Is it reassuring to know that the writer is a fan of the original Resident Evil games? Let us know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and for everything on the Resident Evil movie reboot, subscribe. The Residents of Evil is a Patreon-supported channel, so if you'd like to help support the channel and unlock some great perks in return, head over to patreon.com/ROE Network. Links will be down in the description. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we hope to see you back at the Residents of Evil.